Welcome to this video on using auxiliary verbs after but. In this video, you will learn how to use auxiliary verbs after but. Let's start by looking at some examples. I play tennis, but my husband doesn't. I've seen that movie, but my sister hasn't. I don't speak French, but Mark does. I'm not a teacher, but Catherine is. After but, it is common to only use an auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb has the same tense or modal as the main verb. I play tennis, but my husband doesn't. My husband doesn't play tennis. I don't speak French, but Mark does. Mark speaks French. We had a good time, but the neighbors didn't. The neighbors didn't have a good time. Kevin and Tina will do the work, but Sam won't. Sam won't do the work. Note that won't is a contraction of will not. Notice that when you start with a negative statement, but is followed by an affirmative statement. And when you start with an affirmative statement, but is followed by a negative statement. I've seen that movie, affirmative, but my sister hasn't, negative. I'm not a teacher, negative, but Catherine is, affirmative. Let's practice a few together. Complete each sentence with the correct negative auxiliary verb. Nick is playing video games, but his sisters aren't. Nick played video games yesterday, but his sisters didn't. Nick has played video games recently, but his sisters haven't. Nick will play video games all day, but his sisters won't. Now, complete each sentence with the correct affirmative auxiliary verb. Andrea doesn't work, but her sisters do. Andrea isn't working, but her sisters are. Andrea hasn't worked recently, but her sisters have. Andrea isn't going to work, but her sisters are.